Hi there, welcome back on the channel. As you can see, we have another special one today. And it's kind of a surprise for me, at least considering that I'm only doing this for almost a year now. I meant car reviews here on YouTube. But after the Formentor, the VZ5 and the Audi S3, probably it's going somewhere, so yeah, I'm quite excited. But anyway, getting back to the car, as you can see, we have a Jaguar F Type, and it's manufactured in 2023, and it has done about 15,000 kilometers until now. It's a special car, in my opinion, because it does have only one purpose in life, and that is to make you smile. So let's see, why do I say that this one puts a smile on your face? Well, firstly, come on, look at the thing. Rarely you could find a front end more aggressive than this one, and an overall stance of the car more aggressive than this one, once again, with some rear shoulders that are accentuated like in this case, and obviously with a rear end that's once again more appealing than this one. It's the classic coupe shape, and actually it goes more towards a GT in my opinion, but nevertheless it's a vehicle that attracts everybody's eye and attracts a lot of smiles. And again, it attracts a lot of smiles from the owner, or the driver at least, because it's the top of the line F-Type. It's the R configuration, which sorry about that, which, yeah, it does come with a 5-liter engine. It's a supercharged engine in a V configuration with 8 cylinders. So yeah, we have our first V8 on the channel. It develops 575 horsepower and something like 700 Newton meters, which is absolutely immense for this type of vehicle, considering the size of the thing and also the weight, because yeah, it does have 1.7 tons, or a bit over actually, but even though it's a small car, it does have an automatic gearbox. It's the ZF 8 HP, and also all-wheel drive. So all in all, considering the engine, the gearbox, the transmission, whatever, it's amazing that it's only tipping the scale at about 1.7 tons. So yeah, hopefully I will film someday a Bentley like that one anyway. But yeah, I was talking about the specs. Even though the weight is, as I said, a bit over 1.7 tons, the sprint from 0 to 100 happens in about 3.7 seconds, and the top speed is at 300 kilometers per hour. Way more than the standard gentleman's agreement of 250 that we are typically used with. And not only that, but the consumptions are not bad, even though they're absolutely not relevant. The owner has used the car obviously outside the city, doing some longer trips, and he said that he managed, while obeying the speed limits, he managed an average of 8 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers, which again, it's quite impressive considering the performance and once again the looks of the car. I mean, come on, inside the city, yeah, you'll probably see values as high as 15 or 20 liters per 100 kilometers, but it's not necessarily meant to be driven inside the cars, inside the city. So yeah, that's that. So, going further with the trunk area of the car, as I said, it's most likely a GT because, as you can see, we do have quite a lot of trunk space. And yeah, the usual carry-on luggage is in there, and you could probably squeeze about 2 of them with some extra spare space. You do get some pockets on either side of the trunk area, and they're going quite deep actually. And of course, some under the boot floor storage for the things that you don't want to rattle inside the main compartment. So yeah, all in all, for a week of traveling for 2 people, it's more than fine in my opinion. Being a premium car, you would expect to see some premium materials, and as you can see, almost all of the door card is covered in leather with some interesting stitching in here, with some additional controls for the seats, the memory function of the seats. You can lock and unlock the doors from the inside, obviously. You have a small pocket in here that is covered only on the inside, but the main piece of the interior are actually the seats. As you can see, they are quite sporty, quite body hugging, with heated function and ventilation. And yeah, the leather is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It's a pleasure to touch the material. And also we have on this configuration some light pigment, some interesting color for the seat belts. The small downside, obviously, is gonna be the space inside, and actually not necessarily the space, but the way you climb inside the car and outside the vehicle, because it's quite a low riding car, and yeah, you're most likely going down inside the car, not necessarily climbing aboard. But once again, the materials are more than fine in here. They're premium feeling. You do have lots of areas with leather, some interesting material here that is quite soft, so you could rest your knee, and the glove box is actually covered and quite deep. So all in all, more than fine. So going forward with the driver's side of the door card, obviously we do have some additional controls for the electric windows and for the outside mirrors, but other than that, it's identical with the one on the passenger side, as is the seat itself. And on the left side of the steering wheel, we have some light controls, the lane assist, and the ability to open the trunk area. If we take a seat inside the car, and I'm actually gonna start it before I close the door. Yeah, that's it. That's the stuff. Yeah, the door closing sound is not amazing because we don't have double-sided windows, but come on, you don't really need to in a V8 car. You need to hear the engine, so that's one of the reasons. But even so, for a frameless window, I mean, for the most part, it's an alright sound. And this is the driver POV. Yeah, the steering wheel, it's personalized by the owner, but you still get physical controls on the steering wheel. We have on the left side the ability to control the infotainment. No, the gauge cluster screen, not the infotainment. Well, in part, the infotainment as well. And on the right side, you have the cruise control and the heating of the steering wheel. We have some stalks behind the steering wheel for lights and wipers, and the control of the electric steering column. The gauge cluster is all digital. It doesn't have an amazing contrast, but for the most part is easy to read, even though we do have the sun behind us, and as you can see, we do have some glare on it. But yeah, alright, it's alright. You're not really able to personalize it all that much, but Anyway, as I said, it's not nearly the most important thing about driving this car. But going forward, we have a dimmable mirror, which is frameless, a small light fixture, some panoramic roof on this model. The air vents are rising from the dashboard when you start the climate unit. We have the infotainment screen, which again is not ideal, but it responds fairly quickly. But again, it's not the main aspect of the car. We do have physical controls for the climate unit, which is always nice to see. And if you want to get to the seat heating or ventilation, you just press on either side of the controls. Then you have some additional lights for the functions from the climate unit, including a front heater for the windshield, interesting, and the hazard lights in here, which does have an interesting click to it. From here you start and stop the engine, obviously. On the other side we have a 12-volt outlet, the gear selector, the volume control of the multimedia system, the driving modes of the car, the parking brake, auto hold function, the exhaust button that changes the flaps inside the exhaust system, and the ability to deactivate the stability control. Then we have a couple of cup holders that are cooled actually, and inside the armrest we do get a couple of USB micro SIM port, some storage space, and a 12-volt outlet. Welcome to the driving part of the review. Now with the V8 Jag. And yeah, I'm not able to stop laughing actually, to stop smiling, because it's an event. Driving this car, it's actually an event. Not necessarily for me, even for the owner, the usual driver of the car. Compared with some other vehicles, this one, I think it's an event. I've drove the car for a moment, and we are about to get back on the main road to actually do the usual sprint. So I'm gonna shut up for a moment. Yep, that's it. It's enough to push you back into the chair and to give you some chills actually, even while obeying the speed limit. And yeah, I'm obviously gonna take the car on a twisty road in a moment, but even until we get there, I'm kind of point out the fact that it is a GT. As I said on the static review, it's actually quite easy to drive. Yeah, obviously it's gonna be a bit harsh in terms of suspension, even though it's adaptive and you can put the car in comfort mode like I did right now. But it's a bit harsh and a bit rough on the edges because it's quite a low vehicle with a low center of gravity, with some skinny tires wrapped around 20 inches in terms of the wheel size. And yeah, you pretty much have to expect something like this with sort of a sports car after all. If you want more comfort and higher levels between comfort and sport, you should probably go to Bentley or something like that, which again, it's another whole class of vehicles, a whole other class of vehicles. But going back to this one, until I'm gonna pause the video to get to the twisty road. Alright, you do get a bit of tire noise because they are quite large, quite wide, and you don't have double glazed windows. You don't have frames around the doors, or the windows and doors. So all in all, in rough patches of asphalt like this one, you're gonna get a bit of noise inside the cabin. but it's not necessarily something to complain. Once again, considering that it is a sports car. It's a GT that can drive you up to, I don't know, some mountain road, a couple of hours on the highway, and you will not get tired. When you get there, you will most likely still be in the right shape to get the most of the engine and the whole configuration. And more so, the steering is actually quite light. The gearbox doesn't need any introduction. Nice AMG in front of us. And also the noise levels, as I said, even though they are not it's not the most quiet car, it's more than enough. It's decent enough to be able to drive the car for a medium to long trip and then to enjoy it on some twisty road or on a circuit. Why not? Yeah, I'm gonna pause the video for a moment because it's going to take a while of me driving inside the city to get to the twisty bit, and I don't want to bore you with all of the what the freaking heck anyway, the details about the car while driving to that spot, because I'm not really sure that the traffic will allow us to enjoy the car for the whole trip, and I want to save some of my speech for that part regarding the maintenance and the positives and negatives of the model. So yeah, see you in a bit. Welcome back to the driving part of the review. And as I said, I might get into some traffic, and I'll talk more about the car when I do. But for now, I'm gonna keep my distance and actually try to enjoy the car for you to enjoy as well. Let's just let the car in front get more ahead. And enjoy the sound. Nice MCB. Yeah, as I said, I do have some traffic in front of us, so I'll try to go on some of the things that I enjoyed while reviewing the car, and some of the things that I'm not necessarily a fan of, which are not a lot actually. And for once I'm gonna start with that one, because yeah, even though it's a premium car, and if you consider the price tag on it, you could say that some of the materials here in the cabin are not necessarily on par with your expectations. And again, the infotainment screen and or the gauge cluster is not necessarily high def compared with some other models, newer models actually. But then again, do you really care about any of that stuff? You don't necessarily buy this vehicle to appreciate all the materials, the way it was built, or any of that nonsense. you buy it to enjoy it on the road, to enjoy the massive 5-liter in front of you. Why not the gearbox, which is one of the best in the business, and the overall output of this system, coupled with the all-wheel drive, which is rear-wheel biased, and obviously the sound. If you keep the car in the right condition, in the right gear, all of that shenanigans from the inside disappears. It doesn't matter. On the upside, switching to the positives, you do get some attention to details here and there, which is almost pointless, to be honest, but it's something that defines the premium manufacturers. For instance, you have the air vents on the center part of the dashboard, which rise when you turn on the air conditioning. They could have just made them simple, just to be there all the time, but they chose not to, because that's the beauty of it. Another detail like this you have on the trunk lid. Yeah, you could use it like it was intended, at a push of the button, but even so, you have a handle on the left side of the trunk lid, which is not an ordinary plastic. It's actually covered in leather, which again, it's pointless, because you will not touch that handle too often. But even so, they did think about it. Those are the kind of details that make this vehicle, and in general make the premium class of vehicles. Obviously, you do have to enjoy the engine, the noise, the overall stance of the car, because it's that kind of vehicle in that segment. But those are a given, so I'm not necessarily gonna mention them in detail, at least. So yeah, those are the positives and the negatives, in my opinion. And I would probably just let the cars in front of me gain some distance, but I'm not pretty sure how to do that. I should probably just stop in order to let them pass. But yeah, I'll talk about the maintenance for a moment, because we are approaching the roadworks anyway. Being a petrol engine and quite a large displacement, you do have to expect some maintenance costs and some insurance costs, even more so. But it's something that you should expect when you buy a vehicle like this one. It's not necessarily something to buy to go from A to B. It's something to enjoy from A to B. It's a car that makes the whole point of the trip the actual drive towards the B point, not necessarily what you will find when you get there. So yeah, it does have some running costs. The oil changes are supposed to be done at around 5,000 to 6,000 kilometers, especially if you drive the car the way it was intended. The gearbox as well should require some maintenance at about 50,000 kilometers. The all-wheel drive system as well, and you also have to factor in some costs in terms of tires, brakes, and I don't know, maybe some suspension components. It depends. It's not necessarily a heavy vehicle per se, but it's a bit stiff, and when you don't have an optimal driving pavement, yeah, it might suffer the whole suspension system. And obviously it's gonna cost you quite a lot to drive the thing, to fuel it up, and they're gonna add up, all in all. But once again, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. is not a vehicle that you buy with your mind. You buy it with your heart. And compared with some of its rivals, it stands out. It's one of the last vehicles in this class with a V8, and actually that makes it an universal recipe, in my opinion, because the noise it makes, the feeling you get while driving it, obviously the power it manages to output, they're absolutely incredible. It's an event to drive this car, not necessarily for me, but for the driver, the owner as well, when he drives it, compared with some other cars that he may or may not have. This one, it's actually the most eventful. And he did show me a couple of things about the car. You do have to learn how to make the best of it. For instance, if you want the fruitiest exhaust note, you have to keep it in drive, not necessarily in sport. If you want to feel the gear changes, because that's a different story, you have to keep it in sport, not in drive. In drive, it seems like it doesn't have any gears. Which again, I know it's the ZF transmission, but it was configured this way by the manufacturer, by Jaguar. It's not necessarily something that you see in BMWs, for example, in some BMWs, for example. So yeah, those are the main aspects. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that I will be able to show you a bit more while driving, because as you can see, we do have quite a lot of traffic. But anyway, to sum up the experience, once again, I'm gonna refer to what the owner has told to me. He was inside the city, keeping the RPMs between 3,000 to 4,000 to get the most of the noise levels, and to get some pops and bangs from the exhaust system. And there were a couple of people side by side. One of them loved the car and loved the noise that it was making, and gave it a thumbs up towards the driver. The other one gave a different sign, different hand sign, because he hated it. He probably thought it was too loud, and yeah, I don't know. And yeah, that's actually my conclusion. It's an event, and you either love it or you hate it. There's no other way around it. If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I would love to get your impressions in the comment section. And even though we're moving again, I think I'll end the video here, because I don't have enough time with the car in order to get the most out of it, nor the skills, to be honest. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. Until next time, thank you for watching.